The Krays brought glamour to the gangster business. Their name has become a brand name for gangster chic. But while the Krays basked in publicity, another gang, better organized and far more powerful, spread its violent influence away from the flashbulbs. The underworld knew them as the Richardson Gang, or simply the Torture Mob. They carved a terrifying reputation out of the bodies of their victims.
Scruffy little firm, the Krays. Very powerful, Richardsons. And you didn't mess about. Otherwise you came out of there crippled. If you were still alive at all. Naughty boys, they were, naughty boys.
You had the Krays North London, Richardsons South London, but I think the Richardsons were far more violent than the Krays. The Krays would cause damage and perhaps beat up somebody or burn their shops down or their workshops, but the Richardsons, well, they were frighteners, really vicious people.
They had all the top hard men from South London, all the dangerous people were working for the Richardsons. Yeah.
Why do they need people like that?
It was, to instill fear. Indian country, we called it, South London, like going amongst the Cherokees.
They ruled their empire with violence and fear, and subsequently the torture trial, it exemplifies how far they would go.
At the trial in 1967, the jury heard evidence of sadistic brutality rarely heard in an English court. Petty fraudster Benny Coulston gave a chilling account of his torture. In the dock sat Charlie Richardson, the leader, his younger brother Eddie, and their notoriously violent enforcer, Frankie Fraser, already named Mad Frankie.
Francis Fraser, sir.
What did he do?
He went and brought back a pair of pliers, sir. And he put the pliers into my mouth. And he tried to grab my teeth, sir. And then he ripped the top of my gum, sir.
He cut the gum inside?
Yes, sir. Here, sir.
What else?
And then he happened to catch a couple of my teeth and crush them with the pliers, sir.
Charlie Richardson, I think, is a very intelligent man, clever man, shrewd, acute, astute.
Intelligent, well read, very well read,
convivial, good company, and can be a gentleman. On the other side, brutal. All of a sudden he could just turn.
Unlike the Krays, he was a clever, if ruthless, businessman with assets of about £1 million, much amassed through his criminal empire. Yet he was born in 1934 with few advantages in life. His mother worked in a tea house. His father was often away in prison or chasing women. These were hard years, and Hitler's bombs made life harder in Camberwell, South London, where Charlie was brought up. Charlie was a habitual truant. He formed a young gang with his friends, battled other gangs, taunted local bobbies, and scavenged on bomb sites.
Me and Charlie was very good pals, and we used to go out looking for bits of bomb with our tin hats on. He was only 8, 9 years old, you know. And that's when I first met Charlie.
Life was different in the war. Completely new world. Rations, clothing coupons, petrol coupons. Oh, it was a paradise for a thief. Absolutely. I'll never forgive Hitler for surrendering. It was wonderful. You could steal anything, and people bit your hand off to buy it off you.
Days of wartime austerity were replaced by a craving for consumer goods. Charlie Richardson nicked goods off lorries, stripped lead off roofs, and became an expert at stealing cars.
I behaved very badly. Eventually, when I was 14 years of age, I was in trouble with stealing a car and stopping away from school, truanted, and I was placed in an approved school for naughty boys.
2 years with other thieves and embryonic gangsters hardened the young Richardson. Working out at the Lynn Boxing Club with his younger brother Eddie prepared Charlie to take on anyone.
Charlie was a fighter. And he proved himself with his fists and everything. I mean, he terrorised people, there's no mistake about it. Everyone was terrified of him.
In the early hours of March the 8th, 1966, the Richardson gang was dealt a grievous blow, not by the Krays, but by a group of South London villains led by Billy Hayward. During a bloody gunfight at a Catford nightclub, one of Hayward's men was killed, but not before they had wounded 4 of the Richardsons, including Eddie Richardson and Frankie Fraser. More damagingly, both would be jailed for 5 years. Ronnie Kray seized his chance to try and finish off the Richardson gang. Just 16 hours later, another of Richardson's thugs lay dead. George Cornell went for a drink in the Blind Beggar and was killed by Ronnie Kray. In July 1966, the police were ready to strike. Torture victims had broken their silence. the police promised they did not have to sign their statements until all the Richardson gang were behind bars. The power of the Richardson gang was eventually broken by the courage of their victims. Charlie Richardson got 25 years for grievous bodily harm. His brother Eddie received 10 years, as did Frankie Fraser, on top of the 5 years they both were serving for a fray at the nightclub. The judge said Charlie Richardson was the vicious and sadistic leader of one of the most dangerous gangs he'd ever heard of.